Hello guys, it's Dress here. We're gonna be learning how to create a very basic and simple website using HTML with some simple styling. And for that we're gonna use Notepad. That should be good enough. And well, obviously Chrome browser or whatever browser you want to use. Anyone should work fine for what we're gonna do. And well, as I was saying, we're gonna do it in HTML, which is the web markup language. That's what it means. H stands for hyper, T for text, M for markup, and L for language. So it basically means that you use it to define and create containers, elements, and stuff in general. So it almost always works like this, like opening and closing tag. And in the case of the HTML basic structure, it always got a head and a body. What you can actually see in a website always goes here. So here goes the content, and in the head there are generally imports of stuff that you need for your website, some decorations like the title and general stuff like that. But what you actually see is always in the body. That's pretty much all you need to know. So this very basic thing is already a readable thing for the browser. So you just can hit File, Save. I'll just save it in my desktop. So the name could be like whatever name, but the extension gotta be HTML, because otherwise the browser has no idea what's going on. Okay, so you can hit Save. You can see it's already here now. Double click. That's it, Content, and you can see that the title for the tab is by default the name of the file, whatever name.html. In order to change that, remember I told you that you gotta declare that kind of general thing in the head. Well, that's very easy. You just create a title tag with the opening and closing tag, of course, and within the opening and closing tag, you just set the name or whatever the title. So this is the title. File, save, go here, refresh, and you can see we can now read our random title here. And if we want to add some content, like something more interesting than this plain text, we can start by adding an H1, which basically stands for heading 1. 1 is just like the priority, let's say, or how relevant it is. You go from 1 to 6, H1, H2, and so on. H1 should be like the most important heading. Close it, and that should be it. Refresh, and there you go. By default we get this horrible Times New Roman font family, which we can change afterwards, of course. And okay, we already have a heading, and you can add like a secondary heading, which is basically the same. H stands for heading, 2 for, let's say, the relevance or importance, whatever. So this is the second most important heading. Close it, save, refresh. There you go. We got 2 headings now. You can see the font size is slightly smaller in the second one, in the H2. That's pretty much the standard and how it always should be. And alright, we can now add an image to make our website more interesting. And in the case of images, the name of the tag is just img, which is quite intuitive. You don't need an opening and closing tag. You just use a single tag, and that's good enough. Because the image is going to be like an inline element, so you're not supposed to have anything inside an image. That's why you just self-close the image, let's say. But there's also another specific thing when we talk about images, and it's obviously that you need a source for it, like indicate the browser a path where the browser can kinda get the image. So in order to do that, you just gotta set an attribute, which is source, src, and to indicate the value, which in our case is gonna be the path of the image, you just gotta set it like this, like equals, and between double quotes you just type the path. In our case, I think the most practical thing is just to get an inline image, like it could be like, let's say football, go to images, let's see this Salah picture, open in a new tab. When you open the image in a new tab, you get like the full path. You gotta make sure it ends with the image extension, which could be this one or PNG or whatever, but just make sure your URL finishes or ends up with a proper image extension. So we copy that, go to Notepad again, paste it in the source, hit save, and that's it. We already got our image. Pretty easy, right? So if we now want to add some basic styling to the website, we can just use a very basic attribute. See, as we use source, which is an attribute, there's another attribute for styling, which is conveniently called style, and the structure is the same. You just type the name of the attribute equals plus value. So in this case, if we want to change the color of the heading, you just gotta declare it like key value pairs separated by columns, which is much easier if you just see it like this: color red, and to finish the declaration, semicolon. That's it. Color red, boom. File, save, and the text is already red. If we want this text to be blue, well, the process is the same. You gotta set the style attribute. You always set the attributes in the opening tag, never in the closing tag, always in the opening one. So same thing that we did in the H1, we do it here again, but in this case, let's say blue. File, save, refresh, and there you go. We got blue text. Now we may want like a link for people that want to learn more about football. In order to do that, we can just create an anchor element, which is referenced as A. Open and close the anchor element, and here it's just the text that you want for your link. So this is my link. Alright, that should be it, but we gotta specify where we want this link to take the user of the website. So in order to do that, all you gotta do is type href, which means hypertext reference, but in plain English it just means wherever the link is taking you. That's pretty much it. And the structure is the same, equals, and between double quotes, the path of the place that you want the link to take you. So in our case, let's go back here and use the Wikipedia football article. Go back in the href, we just paste the path, file, save, and that should be it. If we hit refresh now, we got the link here aligned with the image. You can see that's a difference between the h1, h2 and the image tag. In the case of the image and the anchor tags, they are both inline elements. That's why they kinda get inline, well, like this by default, not like the heading elements do. They just get a specific line, let's say, for them, but that doesn't happen with the anchor and image tags. They just go in line. Doesn't matter how many you add, they will just continue stacking here until they get to the end of the screen. Well, just then they will kind of go to the next line. But if we want this to be in a different line, we can add a break, let's say a line break, which is referenced like this, BR, and you soft close it. Just you are obviously not gonna have anything inside a line break. So same that happened with the image happens to the line break. So save, boom, that's it. So we now got the link and the image in different lines. We can now test the link. It works fine. Can go back, and maybe the last thing we can do is make it that this link actually opens up in a new tab, not in the same one, which is kind of annoying. And in order to do that, all we gotta do is set up the target attribute and set it to blank. That's like a default thing. Target can always be like self, which is the default, or blank, which is what we want now. I don't know why the underscore or whatever you call it, but that's just the standard stuff you gotta learn. So if we refresh now and hit the link, that's it. It now opens up in a new tab. So that's all, guys. Hope this is kind of useful for you. Let me know if you got any questions or whatever recommendations, comments in general. And well, I'll try to upload a follow-up or let's say a second chapter. If you guys enjoy it, just let me know in the comment section below. Take care, guys. Bye.
The person I